Hello, and thank you for attending the OpenVX talk at Embedded Vision Summit. And today's talk agenda will be highlights and new features of OpenVX 1.3. We'll talk about some common questions about OpenVX. We'll talk about what an OpenVX conformant implementation is, and then we'll move into OpenVX sample implementation, and then we'll talk a little bit about the OpenVX for Raspberry Pi, and then we'll take a deep dive into a case study for an OpenVX cross-platform application. And then we'll conclude with key takeaways and what to look for in the future. And we'll open up the floor for questions. All right, OpenVX is an open royalty-free API standard for cross-platform acceleration of computer vision applications. And OpenVX is from the Kronos group. Those of you who haven't seen Neil's talk, the talk just before me, I would advise to take a look at it after or when you have time. Great information about all the open standards out there. And OpenVX, like we said, it's an API standard. So the first question would be, like, what is an API? So simply put, application programming interface. Without going into the Wikipedia definition, API is a simple messenger which takes your request and goes to a library, application, or a database and brings back a response. So similarly, if you want to put a simple analogy to it, it would be like a waiter. So you would go to a restaurant, you have a menu of items, you choose what you want, you say what your preferences is in that particular meal, your waiter notes it down, goes in, gives it to the kitchen staff, and brings out your meal. So the better the waiter understands you, the better your meal is going to be. So similarly, an API needs to understand its users. So that's the key in any given API. So similarly, an API talking to an application, a library, or a database needs to understand what its user needs and needs to convey that message right, and then bring back the data back to you.